Hello friends, in this session we'll be taking a look at all the significant and major components of IBM BPM environment, and even we'll take a look at the business automation workflow environment and the new components added to the newer version 19.0.0.3. So to begin with, we have the development side of area where we have the process designer. Process Designer is comes in two forms: Desktop Process Designer and Web Process Designer. Starting from 8.6 version onwards, the Web Process Designer is the default process designer, and the Desktop Process Designer has been deprecated. So let's take a look at the Process Designer component. The Process Designer component has the context root of Web PD, but it's generally launched from the Process Center. And you can select the application, and once you open it in a designer, the web PD is launched for that particular process application. But remember, the context root is web PD. So coming back to the other components, we have process center console, which we were already on. So the process center console is in the latest version is known as the workflow center console, but it's almost or exactly the same as the previous versions where it was called the process center. In the process center, you can take a look at process applications, toolkits, work on them in the process designer, the web process designer, take a look at servers, connected, create offline servers, and limited admin capabilities where you can add admin users. So coming back to our next component, which is the integration designer. Integration designer, similar to the desktop process designer, is a desktop application which is installed separately, and it has its own integrated test environment, a complete process server. Also, it can connect to a process server, to a remote process server, and it is used to develop integrations, advanced integration services, SCA components, mediation flows, BPEL, and similar components. But it can connect to a process center as well as a process server and deploy directly to them. Now let's talk about the runtime environment. The runtime environment is the process server itself, and it you may have multiple instances of it, one for staging, testing, production, and even in some scenarios a different process server for development. The runtime environment has these consoles. The process admin console is the first console. Let's go to a process admin console. Its context root is process admin with P and A capital, and it gives you ability to manage installed as applications, check the system maintenance status, and do server administration. And it is also connected to another component, which is the process inspector. The process inspector is useful in taking a look at running instances, changing their states, pausing them, terminating, or cleanup of the process instances. Next component is the business space component, which is not very widely used, but it was introduced in the version from somewhere around 7.5 onwards. So it gives you the ability to create custom spaces connected via widgets to various facets of the process server. Another component is the business process choreographer explorer. This is very useful in working with instances, the BPEL instances, not the BPMN instances, but the BPEL instances, and managing them. So this is where you can manage your advanced integration services and the advanced BPEL implementations deployed to the process server. Next component is the a very critical component which is used by the end users, which is the process portal itself, wherein the users work on their inboxes. They have each user has a different inbox depending on their authorizations. They get to see tasks. They can work on startable services, on dashboards, pick up a task, complete the task, and see various reports regarding process performance and team performance. Another key component is the performance data warehouse, which has its console in the context root performance admin, and it is used to manage the PGW data warehouse. So somehow this is not working on this environment. So let's move over to the next one. So if you talk about the business automation workflow, which is the latest version is 19003, there are some additional consoles or interfaces made available for case manager. Then a workflow center has been introduced. So let's take a look at workflow center and case manager consoles. So the workflow center is abstraction built on top of process center and case management, and it creates a combined view for managing your case solutions and your process applications. Roots, and this is a listing of all the new context roots or the consoles which have been made available. Another key component which we missed out earlier is the REST UI tester, which is available on the BPM REST-UI context root. So let's take a look at that. The REST UI tester is useful in identifying the endpoints for all the exposed REST APIs as well as doing test executions on those APIs. So there are additional interfaces available, for example, for case builder, case forms, a navigator component for cases and content, and a case manager context root, which you can explore on your own. So these have been introduced in the latest version of Business Automation Workflow 19.0.0.3. So that concludes our session, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.